friends, Jewel back again with another super cool astrology video. And today I thought we would focus on Venus conjunct partner south node. What that's like when we have this going on in synastry between two people. So the south node is our comfort zone. It's where we've really come from, things that we've spent a lot of time working on or learning in the past. So it's what we're good at, where we tend to not want to grow out of because we do it good. So Venus is our sensuality, describes our aesthetic nature, our sensual nature, our desired nature, what we find beautiful, what we find attractive, where we want to find our peace, and has a lot to do with what makes us feel happy, because it's that part of the chart within us that describes, what we esteem, what we value. So it has a lot to do with what we decide, where we place a certain amount of importance. So when we have somebody's Venus, which is our sensuality, our love nature, our desire nature, how we approach our social relationships, and that's coming to conjunct somebody's south node, this is actually a really good contact. And the south node is not well understood in synastry. It's, most astrologers will say, it's a point of difficulty, or the person at the south node is going to bring you a certain amount of difficulty, or it's, a negative contact. But really it's not. It can show up that way. But generally, people like south node contacts. They feel good because this is our comfort zone. So when somebody's planet meets us at the south node, that part of them can very much feel like home. That can feel like something that's very familiar, something that we're comfortable with. So these two are very comfortable with each other, the south node and Venus, because there is a very familiar chemistry between them. And if you believe in past lives and subscribe to the concept of karma, then you would see this as karmic lovers. Two people who have been together before and now have had the chance to live that love out in this life. So, and that's, if you're a karmic astrologist, then you would, subscribe to that belief that they have had a lot to do with each other in the past. They know each other. There's a real affinity there, and when they come together, there's this feeling of, oh, back together again, finally. You're the piece in my puzzle that I've been missing. So this is one that is a contact that's very binding, because they have a lot in common. Because the south node person, we tend to live out our south node more than our north node sporadically, unless you have a lot of planets concentrated on the north node. Most people do their south node more. So, these two are so familiar with each other that it's almost like they find solace. That's what the word is. There's solace in the contacts that we find with somebody at the south node. So this one, it can have its difficulties, and this is why you'll read in astrology that south node contacts are negative, because when we have a south node contact, it can have this effect of, we always hear that no, you'll be held back, and that can happen because the Venus person, because their Venus is at the south node, the sign and house placement that's in, this is how they do their Venus. This is how they act out their Venus. This is how they, it shows their orientation to the world through their Venus, their view of things. And so, the south node person very much has a lot of that same kind of energy, except it's like their whole being is at this familiar sign and house placement. So they can hold each other back. But usually what we see happening is that it is the Venus person that is holding the South Node person back more, because the Venus person is so comfortable with how they express their Venus, how they do the things of Venus, that the South Node person will want to remain in that zone with them. So, you know, the Venus person is not going to be comfortable with the South Node person developing characteristics that are opposite or that are different, because that's not how the Venus person is oriented towards the world. That's uncomfortable. We don't want people to behave in ways that are different from us. And, you know, so far in this relationship, they've been doing things the same. So the Venus person can be, you know, the one that encourages the South Node person to remain at, you know, at the South Node, you know, using those characteristics at the South Node. So the South Node person, that is why over time they can feel held back, or like they can't grow towards the things of the North Node, because the planet person, in this case Venus, is not comfortable with being something else or accepting something else. And, you know, the North Node person needs to be going towards the things of the North Node. So they need to be taking a risk. And that's really what the North Node is that you risk the things of the South to bring in the growth of the North. And so the South Node person that's conjunct with Venus needs to come out of their comfort zone enough, needs to take a risk enough and trust that Venus is going to be okay. That Venus person is going to be able to express themselves, you know, wholly and fully, even though the South Node person is leaving their comfort zone, probably sporadically, to indulge in the things of the North Node. So that's why we get, you know, this reputation between, you know, South Node and planetary contacts, that, you know, it's a bad thing, when it's actually not. It has this double-edged effect of actually being a good thing, where, you know, people like the way South Node contacts feel. They like the way they have a lot in common with that planet person. But at the same time, the planet person has to be understanding and even encouraging that that South Node person needs to be allowed, or even needs to be propelled towards going towards the things of their North Node. So, you know, if the planet person, in this case Venus, if they're understanding and even halfway conscious, this is something that can actually be really beneficial. But they will have to come out of their own comfort zone, the Venus person, both of them do, in order for the South Node person to be encouraged, or, you know, to shoot up to the things of the North Node. And then they both actually grow. So I actually like South Node contacts. Some are a little more iffy than others, but usually this is a good conjunction that you want to have between two people. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. It's right there below. You can find me on the internet at truthinAspectAstrology.com. You can find me on Facebook at Truth in Aspect Astrology, where you should be following me, because I do the daily astro weather forecasts, birthday descriptions, write articles, and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And I will be back super, super soon with more super cool videos. Bye-bye.